Good morning. Welcome to our June 4, 2019, 9 o'clock a.m. Board of Commissioners meeting. And Mr. Mayo, you have invocation.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let's bow our heads, please. Dear God, we're grateful that we're able to come together this morning as a free country, as free citizens to express our feelings about different issues in our county. Father, we want to give thanks this morning for the first responders and emergency services, Sheriff's Department, police, and our military for watching over us personally and our properties here in our county. Thank you for giving them safety each and every day. Father, as we proceed with this meeting, may the words that are said be pleasing to you and that we act in a Christian-like manner during this process today. Thank you again for being with us and watching over us. These things I ask in your name. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Commissioner Pate is not with us today. He has an appointment in Raleigh that was actually scheduled for next Tuesday, but got moved up a week, and we're glad for that for Bill's sake. But Bill has joined us by phone, and I'd like someone to make a motion to allow Bill to participate via phone.
So moved.
Motion been made. Any discussions or questions? If not, all in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. Thank you. Can I have approval? Thank you, Bill. Can I have approval of the May 21st, 2019 minutes?
So moved.
Motion's made. Any discussion? All in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. Discussion just been Mr. Honeycutt.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We do have two things that we would like to add on to the agenda. Number one, after special presentations, we do have some reappointments. And then number two, under new business, is EMS Billing Services contract. That contract with MTech Revenue Management. If you remember, the board approved of MTech Management revenue at last meeting, and we've been working diligently on the contract with our attorneys, and we would like to ask that that be approved subject to their approval. So that would be number two under new business.
Okay. Does any board member have anything to add? If not, can I get a motion to approve the June 4th agenda? Motion's made. Any discussion? All in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. Thank you. So we'll continue on with special presentation, Mr. Honeycutt.
We have a nice celebration today. We would like to recognize the 100th birthday of Miss Gertha Benton out of Goldsboro, and if the board is okay, I'd like to read the letter that will come from the chairman to Miss Benton. Dear Miss Benton, happy 100th birthday. It is a pleasure to share this day with you and offer my best wishes to you on this special day. Longevity of life is a blessing for an individual and for the community in which they live, and for the benefits of their knowledge, creativity, and experiences in which they bring to all. You have achieved a remarkable milestone to have lived through 100 years. Thank you for your numerous contributions that you have made to strengthen Wayne County. On behalf of the Wayne County Board of Commissioners, staff, and citizens of Wayne County, congratulations on your special day. Sincerely, Joe Gurley, Chairman, Wayne County Board of Commissioners.
Thank you, Mr. Honeycutt. I'm checking my timepiece here, and we're right on 9:05, so we'll have... I'm sorry, I got ahead of myself. Mr. Aycock, I told you I'd get ahead of myself.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We only have one reappointment this morning. We'd like to reappoint Mr. Melvin R. Horner to the Service on Aging Advisory Board. and that is in the form of a motion, sir.
Okay, thank you. You've heard the motion. Any discussion? All in favor, please signify by raise your right hand. Thank you. We good to go now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, public comments time at 9:05. Anybody wish to speak? 4 minutes. Let me please explain now, this public comments time is just normal. The public hearing for the budget ordinance is at 9:30, just for clarification. So, Mr. Flowers, I see you making an approach, so please step forward.
Good morning, gentlemen. Thank you for your service. Arnold Flowers, 3601 Arrington Bridge Road, Seven Springs, 919-222-1470. Gentlemen, I presented in front of you 2 months ago as an advocate and a spokesperson for the victims of Hurricane Matthew. I'm here back again this morning, 2 months later, and in that I've heard no word in 2 months from the county or Mr. Harris until yesterday. I took it upon myself to go to Mr. Harris's office, and upon arriving there, he told me he did have an email that he was fixing to send out to me, and he gave me that email at that time. But first of all, I'd like to thank Mr. Steve Herron with the Goldsboro News Argus for the story that they wrote on my son and family's plight in this, and trying to convey to the public the human element in what has happened in the Hurricane Matthew buyout. Now, thank you, Steve. Steve and I went to school together, by the way. Graduated from Southern Wayne the same year. And I'd like to say that in no way do I feel like the county commissioners or Wayne County has been in any kind of way a holdup in this process. I personally feel like that the process is so convoluted and complicated that it's been held up at the state level, and I don't even know if that was done on any kind of purpose. It's just such a complicated process. Now, I would like to say that as far as the county commissioners, I don't really know what you can do at this point, but I assume that we're still a member of the East Carolina Council. We had that when I was on the Board of Commissioners. Could the East Carolina Council, as a group of counties, come together with a resolution not condemning but decrying the process, that the process has been so convoluted? Could the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners come together as a group condemning the process has been, and could the Wayne County Board of Commissioners send a resolution to the governor not complaining, but a resolution to the governor just saying the process is so bad that the process in itself damages people? Now, yesterday, the email that I received, my son, in order to be able to get any kind of rental assistance at this point, is being asked to produce receipts from his rental receipts and light bill receipts from the house that he was flooded out of. Gentlemen, his personal family pictures were destroyed. His light bill receipts were destroyed. I mean, it's like something that's really difficult to come up with. One last thing to help you understand and help me understand how convoluted the process is that Mr. Harris and his associates have got to go out and inspect the house that he's now renting to determine if that house is substandard property before HUD will give them any grant money as well. Gentlemen, the whole process has forced my children to live in substandard housing for the last 2 years and 8 months. So I asked you again, as our county commissioners, I'm not saying that this is your fault, but this has happened on your watch. And I'm asking you as our county commissioners, the one that is going to send me another tax bill on this same property again this year, to represent us in Raleigh, and don't let this issue be swept under the rug because our folks in Wayne County and the state of North Carolina have been done wrong in this process, and the process has damaged them. Thank you again for your service.
Thank you, Mr. Flowers. We will address it, I promise you.
Yeah.
Anyone else? If not, public comments time is now closed. And we'll go to consent agenda. We reviewed it at the briefing this morning. I need a motion for approval.
So moved.
Motion made. Any questions, comments? If not, all in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. Okay. New business, Mr. Honeycutt.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You have a resolution that you have in front of you, Resolution 2019-17, a resolution in support of Senate Bill 377, the Military Base Protection Act. And if you're okay, Mr. Chairman, I'll be glad to read this resolution for the
Please.
record. Whereas the Wayne County Board of Commissioners, Wayne County Military Affairs Committee, business leaders of Wayne County, and its citizens recognize the importance of Seymour Johnson Air Force Base to the safety of our nation's defense and the vitality of our county and state. And whereas a primary goal of the Wayne County Military Affairs Commission is to support and enhance Seymour Johnson Air Force Base and its missions, and whereas the aerospace surrounding North Carolina's installations and ranges is critical to the missions of the services in conducting training and operations, and whereas the North Carolina's installations are critical to the long-term economic vitality of the state and are viewed as strategic assets important to both national security and the North Carolina economy, more specifically for Wayne County, Seymour Johnson Air Force Base. Whereas Senate Bill 377, the Military Base Protection Act, provides that the construction, operation, or expansion of activities associated with a wind energy facility shall be prohibited in any location included in the area designated in red as significant on the map entitled Vertical Obstruction Impact on the North Carolina Military Mission, as the impacts of vertical obstructions in the area have been determined to be significantly high, with a high risk for degrading safety and the military's ability to perform aviation training. Now be it therefore resolved by the Wayne County Board of Commissioners, what we do hereby express its support for Senate Bill 377 in protection of North Carolina's military installations. And again, this is recommended by the MAC. It's been approved by the Chamber. I believe also the City of Goldsboro is looking at a similar resolution as well.
I've heard the resolution. I have a motion to adopt.
So moved.
Motion's been made. Any discussion?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
In this resolution, it's mentioned several times Seymour Johnson Air Force Base, and that is vital for Wayne County, very important for Wayne County. But keep in mind, this resolution will support all of the military bases in eastern North Carolina, also the Navy in Norfolk and Virginia Beach. This is not just about Seymour Johnson. This is about all of the military installations in eastern North Carolina. And as far as that goes, it reaches even further than that. So this is, we're not being selfish and just worried about Seymour Johnson. But as everyone knows, eastern North Carolina is probably one of the most heavily areas in the United States with vital military installations. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
I just wanted to reiterate that this puts some more strength into the existing law. The existing law does not prohibit these windmills from being in the flight path. As a matter of fact, we discussed that there has been ongoing applications for windmills ever since we had the issue a couple of 3 years ago. The legislature, if you remember, addressed that issue, but now this puts the icing on the cake. It actually prohibits anyone from applying or building windmills, for example, in the flight path. And I agree with Commissioner Aycock in being in the MAC committee and being involved in it with the Friends of Seymour. The first time a few years ago when we got notice that some paperwork had already been signed for a windmill company to build in the Dare County bombing range in the flight path, we didn't even know about it until the paperwork was signed. So what this does is that this puts hopefully the final piece together that the legislature is protecting the Dare County bombing range, which does affect Oceana, Virginia. It affects all the military bases here in North Carolina. So this is a really good thing on the legislature's part to put this into law. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any other comments? If not, all in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. Thank you. Mr. Honeycutt, contract.
Yes, sir. And again, the Board of Commissioners at our last meeting on May 21st, we awarded the contract to MTech Revenue Management to begin collecting and billing our EMS revenue for EMS and NET. Again, we bid that out and sent out RFQs, and we have chosen MTech Revenue Management, and we are giving them a really tight time frame to try to get this done by July 1. Our attorneys are diligently working on the contract, and what we would like to ask the Board of Commissioners to do is to approve of the contract with MTech, subject to final approval by county attorney.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I so move that we approve the contract subject to the attorney's concurrence.
Motion's made. Any discussion? No discussion. All in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
I'm not answering, that means I vote yes.
Okay.
Bill Lewis.
Commissioner Payton, yes. We had to cut the volume down a little bit, Bill, so if we don't holler, just keep on hollering.
Okay. Well, I had to everything. I figured you'd probably get some feedback. This is not the greatest way to attend the meeting. I want to tell you that right now.
Can you repeat that?
Go ahead. Just go ahead. I'm getting a lot of feedback too. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. It's 9:18, and our next scheduled public hearing is 9:30. Folks, we're faster than Richard Petty this morning. So I'll just call for a recess stretch break to 9:30, and we'll come back and have the public hearing on the budget ordinance. Welcome back and to our 9:30 public hearing on our budget ordinance. Mr. Honeycutt, I'm turning it over to you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. As the board is aware, we made some changes from the manager's recommended budget.
Will you hold on?
She's moving it, the mouse and I'm moving at the same time. We made some changes from the manager's recommended budget at our last workshop. And what this presentation is a summary of those changes that we made, so at that time. So, but we can go over this fairly quickly. Again, to start with, this is a reval year. And again, our current tax rate is 66 3/5 cents per 100 valuation. And again, a revenue neutral tax rate, and again, that's over an 8-year period. If we were revenue neutral this year, our rate would be 64 9/8 cents. So, but the discussion at our last workshop was really to look at a 1.5 cent tax increase, and that was really to be allocated in two different pots of money. 1% of the increase was to be allocated specifically for classroom teacher supplements for Wayne County Public Schools, and then 0.5 cent we were looking at setting aside into a capital reserve debt fund that, again, as part of our CIP this year, we're looking at $5.3 million in financing for some capital that we need, everything from radios for our fire departments to backup communications equipment that we found out through Hurricane Florence. Also working with software for our finance department, and also setting aside $2 million for renovations for Dixie Trail, the old Busman building, looking at a new DSS site. So again, we were setting aside a little bit of money to begin setting for debt service for that, and that was going to be a half cent. Again, go back to what our fund balance usage. I really want to thank the board. I want to thank our staff. I want to thank finance for what we've done. We have really worked hard to limit our fund balance usage to balance off our budget. This year, we're looking at $2.95 million. Again, that is down from $4.4 million usage last year's budget or this year's budget. And again, that's down from $5.6 million in the 2017-18 fiscal year budget. Again, Wayne County Public Schools increases. We talked about the supplement increase, but also there's a $600,000 increase in general operating based upon the agreed upon funding growth formula. And again, it includes funding Edgewood fully. And if you remember, we had a funding agreement with Wayne County Public Schools that was to set aside $587,000 to help pay for debt service for the bonds that we borrowed in the 2017 year. However, since Edgewood was not built and there's not cost savings from Edgewood, we fully went back and restored that full this year. And again, we cut that in half last year. We were planning on half of that savings last year to help pay for that debt. But we fully funded back the $587,000 for Edgewood this year. Remind that they stay in that current location, and it's in a contingency fund at this point, making sure that that they'll be using that at that location. So again, this is an increase that we're looking at over last year. Looking at county employees, we're very similar to what we did last year. We did a 1% COLA, and we also looked at a possibility of up to a 1% merit. So again, if somebody is just average, they may not get anything, but if they exceed expectations, they have the opportunity to earn up to an additional 1% on top of their base salary. Again, we've had some big increases on health insurance. Industry-wide, 6% sounds like a lot, but I really think it's really in line from what we have done in the past. We had a 3.5% increase last year, but if you also remember the year before, we had about a 9% increase. So it's lower than it has been, but it is still, one of those things that can settle or constantly increases. But as our board is also aware, and we have a mandated increase from the state retirement system or the local government retirement system, we have to add an additional 1.2% to our contribution for our employees back to the retirement system. So looking at that as a total, that's a $440,000 unfunded mandate that we have to put as a payment back to the retirement system. So if there's any questions, stop me at any time. Again, we're looking at some new positions. Really the 3 paramedics and 3 EMT positions. This is for our Millers Chapel Road EMS station that we will be opening up hopefully after July 1. So, but to fully staff that new station, we do need these 6 new positions. We're looking at 1 administrative position for facilities management. A lot of that will help with fleet management. We're looking at 1 payroll technician. We're looking at adding that into county finance and also for county payroll. Then we're looking at converting 1 part-time position to a full-time position in public affairs and a part-time position to a full-time position in solid waste. And again, those part-time positions were right under 30 hours anyway. So it's really not as, not like we're taking a 10-hour part-time and making it full-time. They were close to being full-time as we calculated it to begin with. Again, we talked about our CIP. We're looking at $375,000 for 2 new ambulances, one for Wayne Net and one for EMS. We're looking at $425,000 for sheriff vehicle replacement. And again, as we talked about during our CIP, hopefully this will be a consistent amount that we'll be able to fund on a yearly basis. Sometimes that figure may be used more, maybe used less, but the plan right now is to annually allocate $425,000 to that CIP to make sure we do not get behind and have those large swings on capital that we've had in the past. Again, $175,000 for other general fund vehicles. That includes everything from maintenance. I think we also have some vehicles in DSS as well, so that we're also getting some reimbursement for. But again, those are pay as you go. The $6.3 million that we're looking at for debt financing is voting machines. We're 15 years at life cycle on our voting machines. With a 2020 election coming up and working with Dane, we felt like now was the time to go ahead and get those voting machines in. And we talked extensively about our radio system and backup. We're looking at some new towers. We're looking at some tower replacements and additions, but we're also looking at some tower repair and also adding to our microwave system and also our backup for our radios. Again, our financial software package, we're looking at upgrading that. That had not been upgraded in about 10 years. So we're looking at really a changeover of that. That will also be for inspections as well. And also the $2 million we have set aside for DSS renovations. And again, just to make sure that the board's aware, during our work session, we discussed the addition of $37,600 to the Sheriff's Capital Reserve for the purchase of the PadTrack software. And also we talked about that we have $35,000 in this year's budget to set aside for a washer and dryer at the Maxwell Center. And we would like to reappropriate those funds that won't be spent at the Maxwell Center to next year's budget so we can get that project completed. Again, volunteer fire departments. We've looked at all volunteer fire departments and everybody has asked for the same rate. The only increase that we are looking at this year is Polly Watson has asked for a 2-cent increase from 6 cents to 8 cents. And this has gone through their Fire Tax Commission and their board. And so they've met the standards to ask for the increase. Again, the next steps is our budget public hearing right now. And again, so we do not have to do a continuation budget like we did a couple of years ago. We just need to have a final budget approved between now and June 30th. Any questions that you may have? Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Honeycutt.
All right, thank you.
All right, it's now open for comments. And I ask for people speaking, please state your name, address, and telephone number. And we ask that you limit your speech to 4 minutes, please.
Certainly, I'd like to say good morning to all of you. My name is Jimmy E. Ford. I live at 111 Homestead Drive, Goldsboro, North Carolina. I stand before you today to talk about a program that I've been involved with since I was a commissioner here, and that is the WASH program, which stands for Wayne Action Team for Community Health. For Wayne County, we just like you to know that this is a program that is serving that population that really need what? Help. And we've been at it for quite some time, so I serve on the board of directors there. Let me give you a little information. Since August 2000, 155,748 patient visits. 14,500 plus unduplicated patients. Almost 20,000 volunteers hours. $24.5 million in free medicine. 1 in every 9 people in Wayne County have been a watch patient at some point. If you're not familiar with it, I know you are familiar with it, but for the listening audience, if you're not familiar with it, you've probably seen this big blue van, blue and white van riding throughout Wayne County. And we all over Wayne County doing a good and great service. And I feel real proud, and that's why I've been there so long, because I personally know that this program is working for Wayne County. So we're gonna ask Miss Sissy Elmore to come up. Please listen to her, because we wouldn't be here if we didn't have to be here. The service would go on, but we need help. So we ask Miss Sissy Elmore, please come.
Good morning. I'm Cissy Lee Elmore. I live at 3936 Sergeant Brown Road, Deep Run, North Carolina. And my phone number is 252-526-1036. And as Mr. Jimmy said, I know you all are really familiar with Watch. You're familiar with the mobile unit. You're familiar with our programs. I don't know if you realize that the return on investment for every dollar that you give us last year was $31.41 worth of care that we provided for every dollar that you gave us. And also, under General Statute 130A, the Health Department would be responsible for providing such services if we weren't providing those for them. We wanted to talk about, it's time for a new mobile unit. This one's been on the road for almost 20 years now. And my husband tells me a diesel will run forever, but the problem is we can't get parts because the truck is so old. We've been down some due to mechanical issues, and we need to buy a new truck. A new truck costs $349,407. You all, I guess you received from Carol a layout of a new truck, a design of a new truck. And we plan to add this time someone to address the social needs of the patients, to help them get food, housing, other things that they need. And I'm not sure you're aware, but 8.3% of occupied households within Wayne County have no vehicle available to them. And so that's where the Watch Mobile Unit comes in. We provide services in places where the people are, near their homes. So do you all have the layout of the truck, the new layout?
Seen it. It was one.
Okay. So to raise $350,000, we've asked the city of Goldsboro for $25,000. We've asked the county of Wayne for $50,000. I'm working on a grant now for $150,000. We're asking the hospital foundation for money, and we're going to ask the community, the employees at the hospital, and anybody else who's willing to donate to that. So that's what we're here for today, is to see if you can help us with that capital purchase. Any questions? Okay. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Sissy.
Good morning. My name is Barbara Cornegi, and I live at 118 Whitley Street in Mount Olive, North Carolina. My phone number is 919-738-0962, and I serve as Commissioner for District 3 in the town of Mount Olive. I come to you here today to support your plans to ask for a small tax increase to take care of our teacher supplements for Wayne County schools. Attracting and retaining qualified teachers who feel valued for what they do will do much to increase the viability of our schools. Our teachers need to see this support because it is a show of respect for their education and dedication to the children of our county. When teachers are valued for their work, parents and children reap the benefits. Your decision will also have a positive impact on the economic development of our county. Leadership from prospective new industry must consider the quality of our schools as they think about bringing They're company employees to our county. When new families see that the community is not willing to provide better schools, that's bad for business. We want business to be good because we want to see new industry and new families come to Wayne County. Finally, I leave you with this thought. When you make a commitment, you build hope. When you keep it, you build trust. Thank you for your support of the citizens of Wayne County.
Thank you, Mr. Carnegie.
I'm Dennis Draper. I live at 310 North Martin Street in Mount Olive. My telephone number is 919-222-8353. I am a member of the Town Council representing District 4 there in Mount Olive. And I come before you today to lend support to your efforts to increase the local supplement paid to the teachers of Wayne County. As my late wife and both of my late parents were teachers, as well as are one of my sons and his wife, from my experience living with teachers over most of the time since World War II, I can speak to the needs that are there to recognize the importance of our teachers, those folks who keep our kids, who got all of us to where we are today. Quite often, the teachers literally work with parents as much as with the children as much as the parents do. As a member of the Town Council of Mount Olive, I'm aware of the need to attract prospective businesses and industries to Wayne County. However, I'm also aware that industrial leaders, when they look at the community, including the schools, they look at the schools that are available for their children if they come here. I think it behooves us to support the tax increase in order to pay for the increase to the supplement for our teachers. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Linda Harper, and I live at 210 Bayleaf Drive, Goldsboro. My number is 27534. My telephone number is 919-920-3182, and I represent Liberty First, and I have a group of concerned citizens for constitutional liberties with me this morning. Now, I agree with all that Barbara and Sutherfella has said about supporting our teachers. However, I think we may be able to get that money from other sources other than increasing our taxes at this time, because we just had all of our property reevaluated and the taxes went up. So we have already been taxed this year for that. And then also, we have just had 2 hurricanes, and as Mr. Flowers said, we still have much devastation in the area, and these people will be hard-pressed to have increases in taxes. And also, you think about not only is it your house, but your vehicles and your animals and your lots of different things, which would make the cost of living much worse, much higher. Then, so far as the teachers go, I wonder what happened. Oh, I know what happened, but I wonder why we had to implement the reduced class sizes for 16 kids when the NCGA gave us 4 years to do it, and we had to go do it all at once. Then that hurt the budget a lot. It cost a lot that we wouldn't have to be raising right now if we hadn't done that. And then the student enrollment actually is declining in Wayne County. And I have actually taught in a class of 16 and of 30. And I'm here to tell over 50 years. And I can tell you that the learning is not all taking place because of buildings and money. It takes place because of discipline and good teachers. And we can have good teachers with the tax monies that we've already taken up this year. And maybe what about the $700 million recurring dollars the school system received with the low wealth funding fix that our representatives did for us? So we need to search for money in some of those places. But yes, I don't think that the citizens of Wayne County are ready right now for another tax. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Harper. Say thank you.
My name is Debbie Worley. I live at 261 Talton Road, Princeton, North Carolina. I am in Wayne County. I have a Princeton address, but I live in Wayne County, so I'm a resident here. My phone number, 919-735-4239. I am not a speaker, and I don't have a prepared speech. I just want to say a couple of things this morning. I appreciate what every one of you do, the service you provide to our county. You give a lot of your time and your life away from your families to do the job that you do for our county, and all the things that you're able to work into the budget and do. I appreciate that hard work. I'm here this morning as a member of the ag community, and agriculture is the #1 industry in Wayne County. I don't have to tell any of you the kind of challenges that we as farmers have faced the last few years. It's been a very, very tough time down on the farm. We've had rising costs in our inputs. We have had hurricanes that have not only damaged our crops, but they've left damage in our fields, that our production is not as good as it has been in the past. You can go right now to several fields that we've had and we've repaired, but whenever you have another storm, you have those same things come and cause problems again. Our commodity prices are as low as they've been in quite some time. Many of the farmers in this county, I'm sure, as well as myself, have sold off assets the last few years to continue to do what we have done for many years. Bryant and I have been in farming since 1974. His family had farmed before that, but that's when we married. It has been the worst last 2 years, the worst 2 years that we have ever had in our farming operation. You know, the Secretary of Agriculture, Sonny Perdue, he is back in North Carolina this morning. I think he understands what a problem that the farmers have had, and we've been very fortunate that we have had disaster payments and some help from the government, and we appreciate that to help us continue on. But I ask this morning that you, as our local county commissioners, not increase our tax rate, to consider the problems that there has been for the last few years on the farm and in Wayne County. Other people have had damage from the hurricanes and problems. It's not just the farmers, but I just would like to ask for that. I have personally felt like, both Bryant and I have talked about, that we have got a group of commissioners that have worked with the ag community and seen the importance of agriculture in our county, as much so as any group that we've ever had, and I thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Worley.
My name is Jim Lynch. I live at 121 Walnut Creek Drive. I can be reached at 919-778-3130. I'm here representing Goldsboro Milling Company. I'm going to second a lot of what my friend Mrs. Worley said, that it is a really tough time in agriculture. And the phrase double whammy comes to mind in this scenario, and generally double whammy has a negative connotation, and I think it keeps for this particular situation to propose a tax increase in the year of a revaluation. Agriculture is going to bear a lot of that brunt. As Ms. Worley said, the biggest industry in North Carolina, in Wayne County rather, is agriculture. We cannot support tax increase in a revaluation year. I understand firsthand the importance of education, as my wife is an educator, but I also understand that it's important to make deposits into buckets before we make withdrawals. So we need to prime that pump before, if we've got a need for increase in teacher pay, then we've got to make sure the industry is there to support that pay increase. Agriculture, again, is it's a really tough time. It's been a tough, I'll say more than 2 years have been tough. Certainly, though, 2016 with Hurricane Matthew, 2018 with Hurricane Florence, we've got trade issues, commodity prices severely depressed. It's a tough time, so I just want to go on record personally and for Goldsboro Milling to not support a tax increase in a revaluation year. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lynch.
Yeah, my name is Gary Woodard. I stay at 124 Kennedy Road. Phone number is 919-738-7439. Y'all talking about your tax increase. The way I look at it, you done and got it. In 2010, I was paying $196,000. My property value was $196,270. 2018, it's $236,540. That's a difference of $40,270. Now you reevaluate it again, it's going up $14,000 more dollars. That's $54,000 in 8 years, gentlemen. Hell, that's about half the price of my house that I built. I built my house myself. I don't understand how you could do this right here and be asked for another cent and a half myself. I mean, I feel like I done been picked to death as it is. That's $54,000. I don't know how y'all see it, but I mean, where do you come up with it? And hell, I don't know. And when you do what you say you're going to do, it increased the value to $250,000, and using y'all's thing on the computer there, the rate of my taxes will be $2,075. And when you do that right there, hell, I'll be paying the damn county $172.91 a month rent on my property so I can stay there. That's the way I feel about it. I don't own nothing. I'm renting it from the county. So when y'all get done, like I say, I'll be paying $172.91 a month rent to y'all. I mean, why don't you go? I mean, everybody gets the same benefit from the county. Why don't you increase your sales tax or something? Let people who don't own it, I ain't saying nothing about people who don't own it, but if they don't, let them pay some damn taxes too. Let them help out do something. This is ridiculous.
Thank you, Mr. Witcher. Mr. Honeycutt, would you make a note to ask Alan to get in touch with Mr. Witcher, please? And I'll explain more to Alan as we go along.
My name is Ross Balance. Live at 1229 Black Creek Road, Fremont, North Carolina. My phone number is 919-242-6454. My wife is a retired teacher, retired after 29 years. She always wanted a raise, but I'll tell you what she wanted more than anything else was the support from the administration above her. She taught special needs kids. It's nice to have that extra paycheck, but to enjoy what you're doing, you've got to have the support from the administration. I'm a landowner, a farm owner, a house owner, a property owner. We pay plenty of taxes, and every bit of the tax burden, or just about all the tax burden of Wayne County, rests on the property owners. As farmers, we receive few benefits, county benefits. I never go to the health department. I don't use any special needs programs. I'm pretty self-sufficient, and I'm proud of that fact. I've got skin in the game. I've got skin in the game. If you want to increase services, let everybody have a little bit of skin in the game. You want to put a modest tax increase, that's the way it's been sold, or small tax increase that'll raise property taxes on everyone. But it's not raising revenue from anywhere else. The ratio of what the property owners use to what the ones that don't own property use, I'd like to see those figures. The cost of services per property owner for the cost of services for the non-property owner. The only fair tax to do this is a sales tax. Now, I know that the Board of Education wants extra money. I wish my wife could get a post-retirement supplement. I wish you could, but it's not going to happen. To do this thing in a fair way, I did a quick calculation this morning. I'm not Debbie. I didn't come with prepared statements, but I did try to gather a little information. Did just a quick calculation this morning. If you tax the property owner, let's say that your low-income family that doesn't own their property, but they do pay rent. Well, the landlord gets the property tax increase, and he raises rent $10 a month to pass on that cost to the low-income family. That's $120 a year. A family with a $40,000 annual budget may spend $30,000 a year in taxable goods. A quarter of a cent tax, sales tax, would only cost that family $75 a year. Do the math on that. And if you don't have any skin in the game, you don't really appreciate the services you're getting anyway. So this tax increase last year that was on the referendum really didn't get a real good support at sales job. We need to table this tax issue this year and push for a referendum for next year. If it needs to be 2/3 of a cent or 3/4 of a cent, still the people will be better served through a sales tax than they will in any other way. I'm all for good schools. I'm all for attracting more business. But I'm not all for one group of the county supporting all the burden. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Balance.
Okay.
My name is Iris Kilpatrick. I live at 2495 North Carolina Highway 55 East, Mount Olive, North Carolina. My phone number is 919-738-3139. I was not planning to speak, but I've been encouraged this morning by the people against this property tax. It is the most unfair tax, other than income tax, that could ever occur. And I know the quarter-cent sales tax did not pass last year in an off year as far as voting. I'd like to present it again this year, as I worked through several organizations that were in favor of the quarter-cent sales tax, and I promise you my support to diligently encourage everyone in the organizations I'm in to let's get the word out a little bit better. There were too many amendments to be voted on last year, too many things. Everybody was against, and we're all against taxes. But I agree with Mr. Balance and those that have come before him. But I'm also a retired teacher. I've taught in Wayne County for most of my life, but I've also taught in South Carolina and in Chatham County and in Duplin County. And I think teacher supplements are very important. I think we're losing good teachers to neighboring counties. I think we should have a teacher supplement. And I think we should draw from some sources, like Linda Harper said, that may be a little bit overfunded. I agree with Mr. Balance that we have a lot of people that use a lot of services, and sales tax is the fairest tax. I'm sorry it didn't pass. I'm sorry that I did not do a better job of promoting it, even at the polls, even though I tried very hard. Some people don't want to listen. And I tried to tell them their property tax was going to increase because we'd heard from the commissioners. I just want you to give us another chance I am not for a property tax in any year, especially a reevaluation year. But I'm not only an agricultural farmer now in my retirement, but a retired teacher. We farm on the last road in North Carolina to have opened after the flood, Zion Church Road. And we could not even get things, feed in and out of our farm because it was flooded without a wrecker there to pull the trucks through to get the food in and the animals out. So I would appreciate your consideration and reconsideration of this property tax increase. I do believe that teachers need a supplement. I think we need to draw on some other sources. I think we need to cut some other things. Always better to cut spending than to raise taxes. I don't think it attracts businesses either. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Kilpatrick.
Good morning. My name is Lynn Williams. I live at 406 West College Street down in Mount Olive. I'm here on behalf of teachers and for Wayne County. You guys, I appreciate the job you do. You have a lion's task of trying to allocate resources to where they're needed most, to make effective uses of the resources you have. There are a lot of needs in Wayne County, a lot of issues, and a lot of challenges. And one of them, I think, in a bigger picture, has to do with teacher recruitment. The education schools in North Carolina are not churning out near enough teachers to fill the retirements, the wave of retirements that are going through these next decade. We have got to be competitive in Wayne County to attract quality teachers. It is of paramount importance because it's only going to get worse trying to fill slots. And we are surrounded by counties that offer better supplements. And I think that's an issue. That is a huge issue for Wayne County moving forward in education. Now, how we go about it, that's the question. That's what you all are, you've got the job y'all applied for. But it's an important issue for the county and for the quality of teachers that we have moving forward and for what we're able to do. And those things speak to all the other things that we've talked about today. The quality of life in Wayne County, the economic prosperity of the community, all those issues. But all those issues swirl around a strong and successful school system. And you got to have teachers to get it done. So that is my request to you all and to us all to be mindful of what's at stake here. We've got to have teachers for the long haul. And it's only going to get harder and harder to fill those empty slots. And you're going to have to fill them with folks that you may not want in a classroom. If you get to the point that you're filling spots with bodies, you're in a heap of trouble. And I think we've seen some of that already. So be mindful. And just as a reminder, the teacher supplement is important. It's important for the future of the county. It's important to all of us in this room. And it's up to you all to figure out how to get it done. And however you decide, I'll support you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Williams.
Good morning. My name's Craig West. I live at 1395 NC 222 East in Fremont. My phone number is 919-242-4211. As Ms. Debbie said a while ago, first of all, I'd like to thank you. I agree with her completely. This Board of Commissioners has done as much to support agriculture in this county as anyone I ever remember, and we appreciate that. But also, not to sound like a broken record, I'd just like to reiterate that agriculture in our county and in our nation, in fact, is at a bad place right now. Probably the worst place I ever remember in my lifetime. We've had adversity like I've never seen before, not weather events, commodity prices, trade issues, just the list is a perfect storm. If you look around, a lot of people didn't survive that this past year. We've been a lot of auctions this past fall. A lot of farmers didn't make it. And without a good year this year, that number is going to increase. There's going to be a lot more that don't make it. So I'll ask you, just consider, I appreciate what you've done in the past. We know agriculture is the number one industry in the county. And it just can't stand much more now. We all understand the need for increased revenue, certainly, but some of us understand not being able to do that all the time. So please explore other options if possible. And it's just bad timing right now to add on more to something that's in a bad place already. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. West.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Freeman Hardison. I live at 127 Hood Drive in Goldsboro. Phone number is 203-331-6278. I know most of you, you know I hate public speaking. Okay? I'm wearing two hats this morning. I'm wearing the hat of the chairman of the Wayne County Republican Party, and also the hat of Matthew and Florence flood victim. Okay, I'll take the second one first. As a flood victim, I'm now paying, I've just had a reevaluation. I have to pay rent, not rent, but I have to pay a mortgage, flood insurance, homeowners insurance, and in a place I can't live in. I've gone out and had to purchase another piece of property. I have to pay more, taxes on that. And there's plenty of people from Hurricane Matthews and Hurricane Florence are in worse shape than I am in. Okay, I want to congratulate Mr. Honeycutt for putting together a great budget. I think there's still a little bit of meat that could be cut from there, but I think the department heads did a great job this year of really coming through. And I just can't see raising taxes at this point in time. We've had the reevaluation. We know our taxes are going to go up. Okay, and as a head of the Republican Party, 95% of the phone calls I've received in the last week or so has been against an increase. Now, I've had a very successful career, and that career was because of a teacher. You know, when you ask one of those questions, who's your hero? What happened to be my chemistry teacher from high school? So I appreciate what teachers do. But at this point in time, there's got to be another way to do the supplement. And that's in your hands how to find it. But the Republican Party is against raising taxes. You know, we have the reevaluation. Let's use that money and move forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hardison.
My name is Brent Heath. I live at 113 Crest Drive. My phone number is 919-635-0357. I, as well as some others, stand here to commend the board. Sorry, I got a frog. Y'all plagued me on my way up here, I guess. But I commend you for the work that you've done. I commend you for your efforts in providing the services that you do to this county. I commend you for considering offering a supplement to the teachers. It is important that our teachers feel appreciated and feel valued in their jobs and feel appreciated for the efforts that they give to our students. I've spoken with you, several of you personally in the last week about my concerns for this tax increase. Our farming community and our citizens who were flooded have suffered over the last 4 years from these last two floods. And I think a tax increase on these property owners for taxing their businesses if they're farmers and taxing them on homes that they're not even living in, a lot of them still at this time, is an additional burden, additional financial stress on them that I think can be avoided, at least right now at this given time. I'm not saying that a tax increase is not necessary at some point, but I think today and this year is not the time to do that on property owners. I agree with others that sales tax to me appears to be more fair and would be more appropriate for this situation. Not all property owners have children who are in the school system. However, everyone who purchases things in Wayne County, or at least everyone who has children in schools, purchase something in Wayne County. So a fair way to tax the individuals who would benefit. And I realize our whole community benefits from good teachers and from good schools. It's not just those that have students. But I would encourage you to not do a property tax increase at this time. I commend this board on the decisions that you've made over the last 8 years. This board's been here. And when this board has voted unanimously, it's always been good for the citizens of Wayne County. However, when this board has been divided, I personally don't feel that those decisions have always been a good decision for Wayne County. And I would encourage you, and I realize that not always, when there was a division, have each of you been on the side that promoted that change. However, there is one common denominator in that division. And I would encourage you to consider that and think about if this decision is something you're being talked into or if it's something that you feel is really right for Wayne County. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Heath. Is there anyone else? If there's no one else who wishes to speak, we'll close the comments time and we'll have discussion here. And
Mr. Chairman.
Generally, I'm always the last one to speak out of courtesy to the other board members and just my nature. Today I'm gonna be first. I think each of you will come and express your opinion. It's really eye-opening to hear some of the comments. I'll preface my comments with that I am not going to vote for a tax increase. And there's 3 areas of concern that I want to express today. Ever since Hurricane Florence, we have said no tax increase. And this is a revow year, and we understand that. And with some of the things that we're faced with, as Mr. Honeycutt pointed out earlier, with the retirement increase mandate that was put on us and the health insurance increase that we're faced with, and with this year's budget, we're not hitting the fund balance as hard. So there's some things that we're doing in a positive way. But we all, commissioners, concur that the tax revow that will be a property tax increase of probably 1.4, maybe 1.5 cent was necessary, and we concur with that. There hasn't been much tax-based growth in the county, but I think we're maintaining well for our position in the state and the way the economics are going and the infrastructure is going. Last Wednesday, the increase in tax rate motion was made. But I do want to clarify one thing, and this is not to be disrespectful, but the comment was made that the average house is $90,000 in Wayne County. And that's probably true. But also that house would only be a $13 increase in taxes. And that's true. But what wasn't stated was that house homeowner probably has a car, and we'll say that's a $10,000 car. And I'll give you another example. A widow lady with that $90,000 house and a $10,000 car. And her husband's been gone 30 years, and there's still packed houses and barns there. She's probably got $20,000 worth of barns and other taxable goods around. And she's got a farm there of land that she has to pay taxes on. So it goes from $13 to $100 to $150 real quick. Now, what you also need to understand is that $150 is going to double because of the revow. So, you're talking $250, $300. And for a little lady that's on a fixed income of Social Security only and rising costs in health care, medicine, seems like my auto insurance and homeowners insurance goes up every year. That's a hard pill to swallow. And that amount of increase can make or break a single person trying to survive by themselves. Next, I want to touch on agriculture. And, I think it's been stated here, agriculture is our number one industry. It's our biggest engine for economics in Wayne County. And, there again, we start talking about a 1.5 cent tax increase. Doesn't sound like much. When you start talking about these farmers, and I don't know this to be accurate, I'm just going to guess some here because I certainly haven't cropped any back in 40 years or so. But, you're talking about a combine costing $200,000, $300,000, and the farmer's got a couple of them. Those 200 horsepower tractors costing $200,000, $300,000, and they got so many of them probably can't keep up with how many they got, but probably 3, 4, or 5 of them. Then you talk about a turkey house or a hog house or a chicken house costing $200,000, $250,000 each, and then you talk about the farmland they own. Now, another whammy they're going to hit too is when that little lady that's got that increase on her farm, she can't afford to pay taxes on that farm land, she's going to have to go up on leasing. When she goes up on leasing, she's going to pass that along to the farmer again. So the farmer gets hit with a double whammy again. But again, it don't stop there with that 1.5 cent tax increase. You got the revow, you got another 1.5 cent tax increase. So that farmer's going to get hit with thousands of dollars of increases on a industry that's been just whopped the past 2 out of 3 years. It's been walloped bad. So the third area I want to place a little concern on is the flood victims, just like Mr. Hart spoke about, Mr. Flowers spoke about earlier. Those people can't catch a breath. You heard Mr. Hartson's message a while ago, and I think it'd just be a disservice to them as well that if we go with a tax increase. And I heard clearly from some of you today, and I've heard from the community clearly, that a sales tax is the most appropriate tax to try to input now. So I'm going to ask this board in the fall or before to consider putting a 1/4 cent sales tax back on the ballot again, and then we'll go from there. That's my comments, and I'll open the floor up to rest commissioners.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
If I may, I would like to make a motion that we table any decision on our budget until our next meeting to give us and staff time to explore every option that we have and bring back before this board.
Motion made. Any discussion on the motion? I think I'll start speaking first more often.
We're going to be able to have comments after we vote here, because I have some comments later, or now, or whenever.
Go ahead.
Let's vote first. Then can we do the comment?
Well, I don't know which order we ought to do this. First, I support the motion that my colleague here has tentatively put in place, so we can have another couple of weeks to look at all aspects of this. But I will not back away from my position that I would do whatever it takes to support the teacher in the classroom. I want to make that clear.
Mr. Chairman, I'll go ahead. When you finish.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Over this past 6 years or so that I've been on this board, we have addressed a lot of brick and mortar, nice buildings. Oftentimes, those buildings are supported vehemently by certain segments of the population. And it is really nice to have new buildings in a community and all the new technology. But the thing that makes a difference in whether a child mess with that teacher in the class. I started out in one building, teacher had about 25 or 30 of us in there, over 7 grades, and she didn't do that bad. But I didn't appreciate the new building. But the teacher who's having to work in that classroom every day, whether it's 16 children or 25 children, or 30 children that the lady spoke about. I think when I was in high school, there was about 25, 26 students in there. And the teacher did a good job. And the teacher's trying to do a good job now. And I know that some of our school administrators left a few minutes ago. And I don't want to get into the weeds where I shouldn't. But I think a previous speaker spoke to the fact that the teacher institutions are not producing teacher-trained people to come into the classrooms. For whatever reason, the state has allowed the NC states, the Fayetteville states, the East Carolinas to reduce the amount of teacher trained people. When I came through, I spent at least 6 or 8 weeks under a qualified, bona fide teacher who helped me to learn how to present the lessons, write lesson plans, and so forth. Now we have folk coming into the school system who are called lateral entry. They have some educational courses related to education, but they come in and they have an opportunity to try to finish that while they're teaching. That's put a good intended body in the classroom. But please don't compare that to someone who's been through a bona fide teacher education program. We talked about that's, and what that supplement does is to try to recruit on the front end the qualified persons that we need. It helps industry, it helps the person, it helps the families to move from a lower level of standard of living to a different standard. Once that child has a good teacher, can move on to either community college or some specific training that will cause them to move up the scale into a better lifestyle. So I just have to tell you, and I'll try to stop, but my concern is with the teacher in the classroom. There are a lot of other things that we have funded, and I'm glad that we're holding this vote off for a couple of weeks, because there are going to be some things in this budget that I was asked about to see if it is needed, comparatively speaking. We may haven't touched the core of some of the things we're going to have to talk about. And let me go back to the farmers for a moment. Please don't misunderstand that we don't understand the problem that you have. I know what it takes to have something that you're proud of, that you worked hard on. I mess with renovating and renting old houses to folk. And when those things break down, I have to go in my pocket and fix them. And mine are going to have to, that stuff is going to reevaluation just like everyone else's is. And I've already done some calculations. And my bill is going to go up quite a bit. But I'm still committed to the classroom. That's all I can tell you. I'm committed to the classroom and the classroom teacher. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Mayor.
I don't have a lot of notes. If you know me, I like to speak from the heart. No one hates taxes any more than I do. I grew up on a farm, and my daddy believed that there's two things that he didn't like. That was taxes and insurance salesmen. But this issue that has been brought up is a bipartisan issue. This is not a partisan issue. Both parties in Wayne County have come together. Here's what we have done. If nothing else takes place from this day forward, we have brought forth a concern that the can has been kicked down the road for 7 years that I've been on this board. if we do nothing else, we're going to find some money somewhere for these teacher supplements. So, yes, I'm against taxes. I own a farm. I lease it, but I'm still affected. I own a small business. Manufacturing business is very capital intensive. The equipment that we purchase is up in line with a combine that a farmer purchases. Why would I sit here and want to cut my own throat if I, as far as taxes, if I did not believe in my heart that we need to do something for our education system in Wayne County? There needs to be more accountability, and I'm gonna be straight up, because I did not run as a politician when I ran in 2012. If you remember, I ran as a citizen servant. That's what I do. I want to be truthful with you. What I have concluded in my research of the Board of Commissioners and the Board of Education, and the people in my district and outside of my district, the citizens of Wayne County have lost confidence in the two boards because of the biting back and forth, and because there's instance after instance where things have happened money-wise that there has been no accountability. And look, the Board of Commissioners are not immune from this. The Board of Education is not immune. The question has been, and has been asked, the Board of Education and the Board of Commissioners may need to be more transparent. The key is that the question has been asked. I have in my possession from the Board of Education an invoice from a law firm that the Board of Education spent $175,000 since February to an outside law firm. And look, I'm not saying that's wrong. What I'm saying is, where is the accountability? Do we need this? The second thing that has been brought up, and I'm going to bring some instances up, in my district in the northern part of Wayne County, over 3 years ago, there was $185,000 spent for an engineering architectural study to build 22 classrooms in the northern part of Wayne County. As of today, there has not been one shovel turned on that project. And I'm using that because it's in my district. My question is, how long is an engineering study good for? If we wait another 2 or 3 years to do anything in the northern part of the county, we're going to have to pay that money again. Now, let me go back on the county side. We as a county, and when I say we, I'm talking about me, we have instances where projects have been overspent. We've had to take, to balance our budget, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. County Manager, we've had to take money from our reserve fund to balance our budget, have we not?
Yes and no.
Okay.
Yes and no. We use fund balance as kind of the gap on our general fund for operations.
Right.
However, if you look at the past 6 years, we have been operationally wise, we have been in the black.
Right.
So we're not using fund balance for county operations.
Right.
Where we have used fund balance is for capital projects.
Yes, and that's a clarification,
Right.
but it's still true, money is coming out of our fund balance for whatever reason, okay? It's still true. As you know, I've been really concerned and made it public that I'm concerned about our fund balance. So if nothing else, what this has done, this has caused an upstir, if you want to call it that brings this to the forefront. My concern is that, and we will find a place to do teacher supplements. We're going to find it. We are committed to do that, all of us. other than a tax increase if any way possible. But we need some help from the state. I have, and of course I see Mr. Raymond Smith is not here, and he was here, but I think he's left. We need to call on the state for help. I know they're going to do a bond referendum possibly and help us for brick and mortar on the more classrooms, but look, that's brick and mortar does not produce a good teacher or a good student. Commissioner John Bell was correct when he said that students can be taught under a shade tree by a good teacher. And we almost was that way when I was at Nahana Elementary School. But, you know, the bottom line is that, you know, classrooms are fine. I want to, for this board, to really go to the state, our state delegation to Raleigh. We have just finished a state audit. And I don't know if you saw it in the paper, but it's out there. We just finished a state audit, and the state of North Carolina, as we speak, has a $700 million surplus. Look, why cannot we either get some of that $700 million surplus to help us? We're not the only county that needs this help. All 100 counties need the help that we're talking about. And or, which is not very popular, why don't we use the lottery money for what was it intended for? So what this has done is that this, if we've done nothing else, we have opened up what we have kicked down the road and previous boards have kicked down the road for 20 years. We need to address this, and I, as your commissioner, and all of us have made a commitment. It's time that we do whatever it takes to help our children. This is about children. This is about the children, like in my business, Commissioner Daugherty's business, any of us that have businesses. Your business is only as good as your supervision and management. And that's all I have to say, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Mr. Chairman, most of what I had planned to say has already been said, but I'm in agreement with you. If we can find the money somewhere else, fine, but I am not going to vote for a tax increase because we're already raising taxes just with the revow. And we have good teachers in Wayne County. Some are better than others. But personally, I don't feel like that the money is all of the problem. Mr. Mayo stated when he went to school at Nahana. I went to school at Nahana the very same year as he was there. The problem, the teachers don't have control anymore. When I was in school, if you did anything wrong, you paid the price. The teachers have got no control, and I'm not blaming the teachers. I guess I can blame the parents of the children that's at home. But I don't, a teacher's a special person this day and time. They have a hard task. I'm certainly in favor of supplement for teachers. I personally, I don't know where we're going to get it from. Our department heads, since I've been on this board for a little over 6 years now, this is the sixth budget that I've been involved in. We have sat for days going over the budget and picking it and taking things out. This year, we asked our department heads and our staff, go ahead and take care of what cuts needs to be done. And I am so proud of the way the budget that they've turned in this year because they did exactly what we asked them to do. We've cut about all we can cut. Now, where we're going to find money for teacher supplements, I don't know. But, you know, we have spent a lot of money in the last few years. A lot of that money has been going to education. There's 3 new schools, 2 of them already open, another one will probably open next year. So there's a lot of money being spent on education. Has there been enough? Probably not. But, and like Mr. Mayo said, I get so tired of watching TV. Every other advertisement is about the North Carolina school lottery. Excuse my French, but that's bull. I mean, when the schools is only getting, 24, 26% of it, and they're sitting up drawing humongous salaries, and can you imagine what they're spending on advertising on 250 channels? Because you don't, it's just not on the main local channels. Every channel you turn to. And I'm not going to sit here and say I don't buy a lottery ticket once in a while, but I think it's about like a crapshoot. But the people that are going to buy lottery tickets are going to buy lottery tickets whether it's advertised or not. I mean, that's just the human nature in people. But I think we can find some money somewhere for teachers' supplement, but it's not going to be done with my vote for a tax increase. And I'll save the rest of my comments for 2 weeks from now. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bell.
I got up this morning and I took my nice pill. And I wore my special suit for this occasion. Now, I take a different approach than some of my fellow commissioners does. The first thing you got to do in running an organization, you got to watch your spending. Now, you can't spend like you're the Rockefellers and then cut tax at the same time, like we did on this board. Now, I've been on this board a long time, and we had the fund balance and the budgets and everything right where I thought, as a commissioner, that they should be. But the new board came in, and this is not criticizing my fellow commissioners. They know that I'm telling the truth. We cut taxes, and we cut taxes without even having any work sessions or anything, just zap, cut taxes. Now, we spent the money, and we need money, and we're saying we're not going to raise taxes. I hate taxes, don't get me wrong. Matter of fact, Floyd and, not Floyd, but Matthews and Florence cost me $19,000 on my house that the government would not, or nobody would not give me any money to replace what the storm did to my house. But I had to go in my pocket and spend $19,000. Now, what I'm saying is that teachers, everyone in here was taught by a teacher. And I'm not saying that teachers are the only people that we need to take a look at. And the farm, I grew up on the farm, matter of fact. And matter of fact, I'm retired military today because of that farm. Because I got tired of cropping tobacco and all that stuff, so I went in the Air Force. But the first thing that we got to do is take a good look at our spending. And then we won't have to worry about raising your taxes. But we cannot take the tax dollars that it takes to run all these organizations that we supervise and take care of, and we cut the taxes where we can't take care of these organizations. Now, that's what you put us up here for, to do, is to run this county. And we got to do it on both ends of the spectrum. We got to protect the money that we take in, and we also got to protect our spending and protect you as citizens, not raise your taxes unnecessarily. But if this Board of Commissioners tell you that we need to raise your taxes by a penny, you better bet your bottom dollar we have looked at everything that we can look at to keep from raising your taxes. Now, when we raise your taxes, we're raising my taxes too. And as I said before, I hate taxes. The federal government just cleans me out every year, with income taxes. And I still don't know where that money goes. But it's hard for me to say I'm not going to vote for a tax increase and I done spent your money. Now, I want somebody to tell me, how can I not raise taxes by 1.5 cents if I've already spent your money somewhere else and can't take care of the bills that we have pending? Told you I took my nice pill this morning. That's it.
Okay. Ms. Daughter, you want to restate your motion?
Well, if I could have some comments first.
Don't forget me making a comment.
Oh,
I'm
go
sorry.
ahead, Bill.
Bill.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Bill.
Go ahead, Bill.
First of all, I'd like to say I would never recommend anybody try to participate in a meeting like I've done today. I've missed so much, and missed a lot of things I could not hear. But I would never do it again. Let's put it that way. For that reason, almost that reason alone, I vote to table this today, so I can be part of the discussion in 2 weeks. But I did still hear enough from my agriculture community that told me this was the wrong year for the increase on tax. Saying that, I look forward to, hopefully we'll go ahead and get this vote done, because I need to go inside. I've been sitting in the parking lot about 15 minutes here at my surgeon's office, and I got about 5 minutes to get in there. So, Mr. Donner, if you would be quick in your comments, because I got to leave. I'm done.
As you go through life, you learn lessons. One thing I want to share with everyone, if you want to draw a crowd, talk about a little tax increase. That said, the discussions today are important for our community. We've got to recognize that we do have a need to attract and retain teachers. And when you are competing in a limited pool of applicants, unfortunately, dollars make a difference. And so today, I think that this board and you as citizens recognize we have a true need. And we have kicked that can down the road. I understand the difficulty of raising taxes. I understand the hardship that it brings. I, above everyone in this room, have been an advocate against any property tax. So for me to stand here and before you and make the motion that I made 2 weeks ago was a very difficult thing. I hope as a community we recognize that the need is there. I hope this community recognizes that if we do, in fact, take the position of putting this 1/4 cent sales tax back on the ballot, that everyone in this room will advocate for it, will actually talk to their neighbors, and hopefully garner the support necessary, because we can't raise the 1/4 cent sales tax. We do not have that authority. You, as the citizens, are the only one that are vested with that authority. And if you don't advocate for it, and if it doesn't pass, it does not pass. I accept the decision that occurred at our last election. But I would hope this community would recognize that is a fairer tax. Everyone has got skin in that game. Everyone contributes. And I would hope that we do, in fact, put it back on the ballot. That said, my motion is that we table this matter, that we not make any decision, and that we instruct staff to go back and regroup and find the dollars necessary to give this teacher supplement without raising property taxes. I think that's the general consensus of this room. So let's go back and one more time and turn every stone and find some way to cut taxes or increase revenues in order to do that. So that my motion is that we table this until 2 weeks.
Motion made. Is everybody satisfied?
Yes.
If so, we'll ask for all in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand. Okay. Thank you.
I'll say yay. How about that?
Yay. More than one reason.
All right, guys.
Now go to the doctor.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman, and I've got to leave. I'll talk to you guys later. Have a great day.
Thank you, Bill. Good luck.
Good luck, Bill. You ran our prayers.
Okay, Mr. Honeycutt, we have got to the point now of county manager's comments.
I just have one clarification, and I just want to make sure it is the direction of the board to make sure that we put a 1% supplement in the next budget recommendation that you see in front of you in 2 weeks with no tax increase. Is that the consensus I'm getting?
That is my consensus.
I think you have to be frugal with turning over those stones, you know,
Right.
and it may be 1%, or it may be 3/4%.
Right.
It may be
But that's the goal.
the goal is to do some type of teacher supplement.
Okay, I just want to make sure I was clear.
I mean, but when you start cutting,
Right.
you got to be careful too when you start cutting.
Right, and I totally agree. I just wanted to make sure my parameters and staff's parameters were clear of what the expectations were, so.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
And really, the staff has done a fantastic job. I mean, you can't take the credit for it. I mean, your department heads, they did a fantastic job.
Yes, sir.
Because this is the first time I can ever remember us not nitpicking and taking things out. And we weren't very popular sometime doing it, but we did not have to do it this year. They just did not put any extra in. And keep in mind now, we've got county employees that are getting paid barely minimum wage. Do some of them have high skills? Probably not. But they've got to live just like the rest of us. So don't look at taking anything from any county employee.
Yes, sir.
I mean, you have to find it somewhere else.
Yes, sir. And again, you're exactly right. I do want to thank our department heads and our finance staff for the work that they've done. Our finance staff has been kind of depleted through some health issues, and I want to thank them for their commitment to the process, and I do want to publicly thank y'all for that. And also, we heard your directive clear about trying to keep it as flat as it could be. And again, all credit goes to our department heads and the work that they did. And I also want to thank y'all for the work that we did on the CIP as well, and the work with Davenport. I think we've got a good process moving forward that will help us be more consistent with our CIP.
And one more thing right quick. You know, I mentioned, you know, we have people making a very low salary. Just keep in mind, the person that's at the bottom of the scale is just as important as the county manager.
I agree.
I mean, a broken spoke in a wheel causes a problem. Everybody that works for the county, their position is important.
Yes, sir. I totally agree.
And just to add one little caveat in there. In order to find the supplement that's needed that a good number of the folk in this room this morning supports, and when you're talking about going back and looking at that budget, I want folk to understand that something's gonna have to be cut. I mean, unless I miss the whole picture here, something that's in there now is gonna have to be whittled down. So I'm just saying, and I respect the fact that all department heads have done a good job at looking closely at what is needed. But to be able to, if the decision of this board turns out that we would not have a vote for a small tax increase, then that means something has to be cut someplace else.
Well, one of the positive things as well is a decision that we made with respect to changing our EMS billing. And so we will look at trying to get with the new company and get some additional revenue projections, because that's one reason why we changed was an increased revenue projection and not to stay where we're at.
I would not count on that.
Yeah.
I can tell you, I know what collections are. And I would not count on it till I got a first year behind my belt. Then I'd count on it.
Okay.
I would not base my projections on their projections.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
No, go ahead. I just have one thing to mention, that's all.
Go ahead, I've done.
Oh, no.
Well, I want to mention something before you get off to schools.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, that's what I was going to do.
If I recollect, Mr. Daughtery's cent and a half, 1 cent was $825,000. Conservatively speaking, that would be for a teacher supplement, thereabout. If I recollect, and I'll ask Ms. Spate and Ms. Rice to help me, in the budget proposal from the schools, they were requesting around $800,200 to 1% for teachers. And that included, I'm assuming, certified teachers in the classrooms. And it was based on a $62 million payroll or so. Do I recall that being close? What I want to know of that $62 million, what details are there for employees?
Okay.
Is it only teachers in the classroom, or is it a combination thereof? I want specifics.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Just to follow up on a couple of things. What you're asking, Mr. Chairman, is exactly what I've been told by the citizens of Wayne County. We need to be more transparent. One of the questions that, and I'm just going to bring up these things, because if we do not come together and be more transparent and come together at what we're doing, 2 years from now, we're going to be having the same issue. But the question has been asked by several of the citizens in my district, what did the Board of Education do with the $700,000 that we recouped from the low-welt formula? You see, the key is that we have to be accountable. That's the bottom line. And also to finish up here, Mr. Chairman, I'm glad we are doing this, because we need to keep this ball hot and rolling if we want to put the quarter-cent sales tax back on the ballot. And let me go a step further. If we do not address this on a permanent basis, I can almost say with good confidence that after 2020, if we don't do something, the quarter-cent sales tax, or do something to make this a permanent situation and help our schools, we will eventually have to go back to the original 2012 tax rate of 70.25 cents. We cut it in 2012, as Commissioner Bell has mentioned, from 70.25 to today's 66.35. And I like what Commissioner Cromartie has said. We can bite away at that big elephant a little bit at a time. But if we keep messing on this thing and don't at least start addressing it, we're going to be hit in a few years down the road a tax increase that is really not going to be popular. So if we think a 1 cent tax increase is unpopular now, we need to take care of this. So what I'm saying as an elected official, I am not going to say that I will not vote, never vote for a tax increase. My wife taught me that, never say never. But I will say that I will vote for a tax increase as a very last resort. If I raise my hand, you can pretty well be assured that this whole board, and that's what we're doing, this whole board is saying, look, Mr. County Manager, we want you to go find us something to do this. So thank you all for coming. The support, and this is what it's all about. Look, the citizens still run this government. We're citizen servants, and thank you all for coming. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, one more thing, and I'll hush. As I said, I'm going to hold the rest of my comments until our next meeting, because we can sit here and I can make comments and everyone else can make comments, and we'll be here all day. So I think Mr. Doherty has made a motion. I feel like that we have said enough until our next meeting. And if Mr. Honeycutt don't have anything else, I call for a vote.
I just have June 11th is our groundbreaking for 911 at 10 a.m. I just want to remind everybody of that. That's all my comments. I'm done.
Voted.
Okay. All right.
We already voted.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's kind of keep this brief. Mr. Mayo, any closing comments?
No, I'm fine.
Mr. Cromartie?
None. I just want to thank everyone who came this morning. I mean, everyone. Whatever position that you came with and spoke about, thank you very much for coming and speaking about it. Thank you.
Mr. Daugherty?
Thank you.
Mr. Bell?
I'll just make a brief comment.
You need to take a second pill?
Yeah. I know it seems like sometime that we are having arguments up here. We don't argue. We just have intense fellowship sometimes.
Not like being married. Mr. Aycock?
And Mr. Bell's right. We have differences of opinions up here sometimes, but keep in mind, this board, I think the figure is somewhere around 98, 99% of what we've done in the last 6 years has been unanimous. So, if there's blame to be thrown up at us, it's all of us, because we have been unanimous on, and that speaks highly for this board. We have differences of opinions, but when we leave them here, we're always friends. And I want to thank our county employees for the county luncheon that we had last week, the turnout. I think everyone enjoyed herself. The staff did a fantastic job. And we probably don't thank our county employees enough. And that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Last meeting, I recognized some elected official, Board of Education, and some school staff that was here. Is anybody still here from schools? I know Mr. Hales. Good. So last meeting, I kind of called them out and caught them off guard just as a play on them. But I mentioned last meeting that Rosewood High School had gone to the Eastern Regions, and they won. They beat Bear Grass 2 out of 3, and I'm certainly proud of them. They did go to state finals, and they lost, but they had such a successful year, and I want to congratulate that team. Coach King, Coach Smith did such an outstanding job. If you read some of the newspaper articles that are in there, some of the quotes that Coach King has, they're building men for the future, not just baseball players every day. And that's just to be complimented every day for somebody taking that type of attitude, and for the teachers here and principals and stuff. You're molding our future, and it's more than textbooks sometimes. It's just teaching them good ethics and morals, and I appreciate what y'all do. The last thing I want to close with a smile. Today is my anniversary. At 36 beautiful years with my lovely bride, and she's a wonderful woman and is in sainthood putting up with me. That's it. So, Mr. Parker, we're going to go to closed session for the purpose of
consulting with your attorney to preserve the attorney-client privilege.
Thank you. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
So moved. All in favor, signify by raising your right hand. Thank you.